Okay. Yeah. Lady Wolf Pack on a whole nother level. Savage as they come, gang of female rebel. Got the sharpest claws, we got the whitest teeth. We coming for your lunch, but we only bring the heat.
Hey y'all, I'm Cassidy, the favorite daughter, obviously.
And I'm Kim, her mom, her match, and the real reason she turned out halfway decent.
Welcome to Mom's Favorite, the podcast where we laugh, vent, and overshare like it's our full-time job.
Yeah. And we're coming straight to you from Austin, Texas, where the queso's hot, the opinions are hotter, and we don't sugarcoat a damn thing.
You know, just think of us as Thelma and Louise, but only they're related and they have a podcast instead of a death wish.
So go ahead and pour yourself something strong, maybe a margarita, get a little snack.
Because here on Mom's Favorite, we got a lot to unpack.
Hey there, MFers, and welcome back to Mom's Favorite, the podcast that proves family trees are rarely straight lines.
Today's episode is a paternity plot twist, to say the least.
That's right. We're getting deep, we're getting dramatic, and we're getting a little nosy because this episode is called Who's Your Daddy?
We'll talk about my dad. Hi, Dad. But more importantly, Kim's dropping a bombshell about her dad. A story that feels less like real life and more like the cold open of a Lifetime movie.
So picture this. I'm in my 30s, living my life, and bam, a stranger walks up and turns out, we're related.
So grab a drink and prepare to question everything you thought you knew about family trees. Because DNA doesn't lie, and sometimes it shows up uninvited.
Okay, let's get into it.
Well, this is exciting because we are now doing our very first recording in our new, cute as hell recording studio.
I know. I'm so proud of us for how we kind of had this vision and just brought it all together and made this cute little place.
Oh, it's so freaking cute.
It's so us.
It is.
It's so me and you, right down to these little pink microphones.
I know. And it's so fun to get to have girly things. Because with two boys, I never get to have girly things.
I know.
So I'm all the pink.
I know. I'm excited. I'm excited to sit here and have chats. It's cozy, and I think it's inviting for when we have our guests over, and I'm excited to show it off. We're going to be planning a happy hour open house with champagne to show off our new digs over here. So look for a date coming up in the next couple of weeks.
Yep. And we hope that everybody can come and celebrate with us and christen the new
digs.
So today we are talking about daddy issues. Just kidding. But we are talking about deaths.
And so we're all talking about daddies.
Issues.
We're talking about daddies and fathers.
But not zaddies. That's for another episode.
I know. I know.
So yeah, we're gonna start by talking a little bit about my dad, Jerry
Michael,
the Jer Bear, as he is called often. And I guess to start, we have to go back to before I was even here. So, Mom.
Well, actually, I was going to tell a little story about his name, and he's probably going to kill me for sharing this. I know, but I'm telling you about his name
all the time. So,
oh, you do?
I do.
I remember talking about this about, so when we were in high school, I mean, you know how everybody makes fun of everybody's name. No matter what name you have, if your name is John Smith, they're going to make fun of it, somehow make something dirty out of it. Yep. But in high school, they called him Jack Knopf. And he was not happy about it. But, I mean...
And that's probably why he says Knopf now.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
So he can't be jacking off.
So we can't be jacking off. Anyway, so, I mean, I can't say anything because my name was Dusenberry during those years. So I cannot say I got called a lot of names.
You've had quite the plethora of interesting name.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, we're going to talk about that later. But yeah, my plethora of names for sure. But yeah, I mean, let's talk about Jerry as your dad and kind of how things kind of how you came about in this life.
Yeah.
And so we, of course, were high school sweethearts. We met when I was like 14 years old. He was 15 years old, and he worked at the skating rink.
The old skating rink.
And he was so cute. He was so handsome. And I'm sure that every girl in there, you know, every little girl, middle school, high school by then, but had their eyes on him. But he was working behind that little booth where you go and say, I need a size 8 skate or whatever. Well, I had my own skates because I was like a real live
Profesh.
Yeah, I was a roller rink queen. I had these really pretty white boots for roller rink skate. I was good. I backwards skate. I mean, I was really
able to
good.
see you do that now.
Oh, I know. I wish I could do that, honestly. In my mind, I can. And I think about it and I think, oh, I could just like riding a bike. I could totally do it.
Whip out some pirouettes on the skating rink.
The problem is that I'd be afraid I would break a hip. And I read that mostly if you break a hip, you're going to die within like 2 years. And I really don't want to do that. So I'm not going to attempt roller rinking. But anyway, he worked at the skating rink, and his sister Fawn, she hung out there too, and Scott hung out there, and everybody hung out at the skating rink. And anybody from the late 70s and 80s knows that's just what everybody did. You were at the skating rink. And so I had a really good girlfriend. Her name was Josie, and we looked a lot alike, but we didn't. We told everybody that we were twins, but we were not twins. But you know, just high school stuff. But she said, "I dare you to go kiss him." And so what? Yeah, I did. I just went right up to him and planted a kiss right on him, and kind of that was it. I mean, we just.
Didn't you give him a fake number?
Well, yeah, well, I mean, I was like 14 years old. And my parents were pretty strict. I mean, I didn't ever have a boyfriend or anything. And so I gave him, back then you had a house phone. You didn't have a cell phone. And so I gave him a different number because I was like, I can't be having some boy calling my house. I'll be in trouble. And so I didn't, for some reason I didn't see him. But then probably a couple of months later, I saw him at it was like a U-Totem, and I ran into him. He's like, oh my God, I've been looking all over for you. I've been calling this number you gave me. Those people there think I'm nuts. And so that's kind of how then I realized that, yes, you know, he is kind of cute. And so I gave him my real number, and that's how it kind of started. And we just started hanging out, just a couple of kids. They had stables. And so we went to the stables and would go horseback riding. And it was just a really fun time. And we, of course, we were really in love. I think both of us were very much in love. And so we wind up getting married. I'm not going to give you all the gory details because it was, you know, just a couple of kids trying to pretend like we were adults. But but anyway, I remember specifically the exact day that I found out that I was pregnant with you, because I'd already started kind of feeling queasy a little bit, but it was like old time days. So you had to go down and get a blood test. And they did not have anything you could buy over. I don't know if they had any tests even available over the counter at that time at all. Like, I don't think there was EPT or anything. Yeah. As far as I know, maybe you had to go either pee in a cup or get a blood test, and they did blood tests there. So I remember finding out and telling him, I mean, this was now everything's all a big production. I mean, basically now you just say, hey, guess what? The rabbit died or whatever, you know. It's an old term, but he was like, he wanted to be a dad. He always wanted to be a father.
Yeah.
I don't ever remember that not being something that we talked about as having kids and what our kids would look like and what how we would raise our kids and things like that. I mean, those were the dreams that we had. And when you were born, I mean, he was like
Smitten.
he was not only smitten, he acted like, honestly, I just didn't even really equate anywhere. And I was like, you and him, like he gave birth to you or something. That's kind of what it felt like a little bit. Like, you know, he was so focused on you, even to the point where right when you were born, he went with you to the nursery.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was still there getting stitched up and whatever. And it really kind of hurt my feelings that he had left me.
Bleeding.
Yeah, bleeding when I mean, it wasn't like you were any kind of medical needed.
No.
Go with her to make sure everything's okay. Wasn't anything like that. So, and I was kind of like, And so when I told Egon that story, he's like, I promise I will not do that at Jake's birth. So, but yeah, he was really, really hands-on. I mean, he did all the things that, you know, and this is way back when really guys didn't do all the things. He did all the things. And because he was a firefighter, he had lots of days off. And so he got very, very attached to you, and he would load you up. He was not a stay-home dad. When I say stay home, he never stayed home. And so he would load you up and take you everywhere you would go. And that would be, if he had to go change the brakes on his truck, he would roll you up in a carrier and just take you out there to the base and work on the car, and there you'd be laying there, and or go out to shoot baskets with a bunch of guys, and he'd put you in a stroller and you'd just be sitting there pretty happy, and he'd be taking up a game of basketball or whatever he was doing. And he was extremely active on doing stuff, and so you'd just be kind of part of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he kind of carted you around everywhere. And so yeah, I think it was really hard on him. I'm not going to say losing you, because that makes it sound like he's lost you, and he certainly did never lose you, because you've always been in his life. But I know that not having you
Every day
in his life every day and being a part of it had to be hard.
Mm-hmm. But
that's kind of what you have to really think about when you make your decisions in a relationship. You've got to think about what you're doing to all parties. And I think a lot of times, you know, you fail as a father the moment you harm the emotional well-being of your children's mother.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the person who's the emotional foundation of your child, when you are disrespecting or treating them in a certain way, it's child abuse in a way. Either way, if the mom's doing it or the dad's doing it. So anyways, but you know, we worked it out. We worked out the separate. It is by no means ideal at all. It is.
Y'all got divorced when I was like 2-ish.
2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You were about 2 years old, and he had been away for a couple of assignments because he was active duty military, and so he'd been away, and I think that made it to where it wasn't like you were used to seeing him every day, and you had someone who was reading you a book every night to bed, or someone that you were going to the pool every day. By then, you had spent 2 years away from him. And I mean, you had seen a couple of visits. There was a few visits in there, but virtually we were pretty much separated at that point. Because once he left for those tours, that was it. It was over. Especially when he went to Phoenix, because that was when I started hearing a lot of things about a lot of cheating going on. And there was just a lot of things. And I just knew there had to be more to life than this business. And so I think when he went to come back to San Antonio, I was worried about that, about, him coming back into our lives and then you getting attached to him and then so I thought, if there's going to be a break, and I knew at that point it was over. And so if there's going to happen, just let it happen now, because she doesn't know what she doesn't miss. And so, or she doesn't miss what she doesn't know. And so you honestly, surprisingly, girl, you were fine. I never had any issues at all with you. You never said to me, oh, I want to go to my dad's. Oh, I want to go. I miss it. Oh, when are you going to get back together with my dad? Never, ever, ever.
Probably
You were
because I
totally
was
adapted.
So young.
Yeah.
That's all I ever knew.
Yeah.
As far as like I could remember anyway. So
Yeah.
I also feel like I've always been very much like go with the flow. Like, okay, yeah, well, I'm just going to do what I need to do and make the best of it.
Yeah, you definitely were. And even as a younger, middle school, you were very much kind of just kind of go along. Now, once you started to get into high school, it got complicated because your life became very, very, very busy. And so, it was hard to do any kind of a regular scheduled visitation type of thing. And I mean, I feel, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like I have always done everything possible to make sure that you had your dad available to you whenever you would want him, or if ever, I never prevented you from seeing him or anything like that.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And
I feel like you have always pushed me to like keep that relationship going. Like, never felt like you're been like tried to coerce me to like not go or whatever. You'd be like, have you called your dad? Make sure you call your dad.
yeah, and I always really tried back then. Now, all bets are off because you're like in your late 30s, Carl. I can say what I want now. But back then, as a growing up girl, and I mean, the last thing that you ever should do, I don't care how much you can't stand your partner or whatever, try not to say ugly things about them and make them, or paint them in a bad light to these kids, because, it's like you have enough to go on. And you picked him. I picked him, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And you're here, and I'm grateful that I picked him because I got you out of the deal. And there was never a question about that. And so why would I want to, unless there was a specific reason, unless you feel like there's some sort of, abuse or neglect, or if there's a reason why, but I never felt there was a reason why, even though we did not agree on parenting. But I did not feel like you were in any kind of, danger but what made it hard is once you got to high school, it's not like you can make someone who, I mean, think about it now as you have two boys. Could you imagine if you had to make Cannon go and see his dad every other weekend or something?
Yeah, I can't even get them to leave the house to like run an errand.
I know. So, and they have friends.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's hard because like, you have friends and you're a teenager, and obviously there's like extracurricular activities going on. And so it's hard as a teenager that age to like prioritize going to a different city to see your dad.
Right. And what really, really was kind of a sucky thing is that I felt like he put because at that point he had another family, and so he put theirs and their needs ahead of you and your needs. And so like when you had games or competitions or whatnot, that didn't matter because we have a legal agreement that I'm supposed to get her on this and this and this such days. And this is what the court says. And I know some of that at that point was driven by his new wife. And I know that happens and whatever, but
Yeah.
I never felt like there was really any support or understanding, or there. Let's just say this was not a co-parenting situation.
Right.
Whatsoever. This was not co-parenting. Co-parenting is when you're actively involved and you put the child's needs ahead of your own on both sides, the mom and the dad. And I really feel like I really did that with you, but you were also my 100% life. And so
yeah,
you are my favorite. There's a reason why you're mom's favorite. So I saw at a very early age, talking about dad parenting, I did not feel like our parenting styles aligned. I'm just going to say it that way. I'm not going to say that he's necessarily wrong or I'm not saying I'm the do-all end-all of parenting, because believe me, I am not. I am not, especially with your first kid. It's like it's like you're the test kid. It's test dummy. But I saw right away the way that he parented, and I was like, I do not, and it's just going to be a battle. And if you don't agree on parenting in your relationship, that's a huge, huge problem. So, I didn't really care if you didn't. I wanted that to be available. If you want a relationship, you want to go, especially since you had siblings, and that made it to where, and I felt like, Leslie was, I always felt like she was good to you. I never felt like you were treated badly or anything like that. So you didn't really care much about going. You were kind of like, didn't really want to go. It wasn't like you ever said, I don't want to go, but I could tell as it went on, you really you got tired of it. And I can get it. Dredging up and going back and forth is tough.
And it's like, they were great parents to me while I was there. There was nothing, it was great to be with them and be with my siblings. And there was nothing that was like, oh, I really don't want to go. I think it was more so the fact that, like, you're going to a place where you don't have any friends. You don't, there's like not your things or your fun things you like to do. It's just different, so it's kind of hard to be like, ooh, yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah. Yeah. And I felt, your dad's real kind of a militant kind of a parent, or he was back then. And he was just very like,
he just growled all the time.
He was just like, no, you sound like an old bear.
Stop growling, dude.
Stop growling. He just snatching kids around, and I don't know. It was just so not my way. And so I just kind of kept the parenting. I just pretty much kept the parenting to me. And I knew you didn't like so much going over there too, because I think they had more rules.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't necessarily feel like I was snatched around.
No.
But I can see what you're saying.
No, you weren't, because you were a good kid.
I was very much like
You were a good kid, but Jonah, you need to go over there and snatch your dad around a little bit, because he was snatched around. I was like, would you stop with that? Like, all just like, or don't do this, don't do that. Just constantly. But
But that's how his dad was.
Oh, I know.
So, it's like that generational.
I know. His dad was way worse. Talk about a wound up, too tight kind of dude. He was like about to explode at any moment. I can remember one time I went over there, Cass, and he got mad about something. He was running through the house, and his his face was so red. He looked like he was about to explode. And had like a hammer in his hand. He's like chasing Jerry, I think, around. Because he did kind of clash with your dad. They were, because he just gave it back to him. Your dad gave him shit back by then.
Yeah.
And so they clashed a lot. But so I can see definitely where he got that wound too tight kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know that, so my dad was adopted, and I think that his parents and family were kind of messy. Were they?
You mean his adoptive family, like Fran and Ray?
Yeah, like
okay.
Fran and Ray. Like their house
Yes.
was messy. And so
Yes.
I think that now turned him into like a little bit of a clean freak. Like, to the point where you'd be in the kitchen using a knife, and then you set it down for a second and you turn around to use it and it's like already washed and put away.
Right. He definitely, they were both working parents, and they had 3 kids. So if you can imagine one more of yours, okay, and then when I say working, she's 8 to 5 or 6 every day and rolls home, and then the house is torn up by teenagers. And let me tell you, their house was like a fun house because there was really no parental supervision. So everybody hung out over there.
Yeah.
Like there was like hangout city over there. And so it was just, it was not clean. And and his dad smoked.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a smoker's house for sure. And it was like his dad would read the newspapers and he'd just leave them like strewn out all over, and then like they'd feed the cat, and then the cat food thing was sitting there, and then the dishes from the night before or whatever, they're all still and he would just go in and just be like start cussing and start throwing shit around. And I was just like, whoa.
And Fran was always like a little bit of a hoarder.
Yeah.
Like use a tissue to blow her nose and then ball it up and put it in her purse to use again.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And they lived on a very tight budget too, because they literally had just this amount of money. I can remember when they would go to the commissary and do the shopping. That's the base grocery store. And they would go for the week, and it would be like just like 12 gallons of milk. And I mean, they would make a menu, and they would get everything they needed for them. And then they would follow it, like Mondays, sloppy joes,
Right.
Tuesdays, fish sticks, and that's just how they ate every week. And they were very consistent with that. But yeah, he was a little bit, I don't think he was kind of embarrassed a little bit. I think he kind of was not that way himself, and so he kind of wanted it to be a certain way. But it comes across as being kind of a douche, so just constantly just constantly just like walking around after people and just mumbling under your breath about what pigs they are, and throwing their stuff away. And like his mom come home and be like, well, where's these papers? And he threw them in the trash. He's just like, so I think he was just very disgruntled from way back on that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it probably filtered over to now. I have no idea what he's like now.
Yeah. I think he's still pretty type A, like cleanliness wise. And
yeah. And I think that's fine. Be type A, but don't be
I wish I had
type A with a side of douche. Okay. I mean, you don't have to be. I'm kind of type A too. Like I can look around and it's bothering the shit out of me that this stuff's going on, but I don't have to walk in like a tornado and start, ripping apart the place.
Going on a rampage.
Going on a rampage.
It's funny that you were saying that he would like take me everywhere and go do all these things because now I'm like, I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to leave the house. He used up all my going outs.
I guess.
Just kidding.
I guess. So yeah, I don't know. There's 2 different people, Cass, here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's your dad and there's my ex-husband.
Right.
And those are 2 completely different people.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I could give a whole episode, which I plan on doing, of my ex-husband.
Right.
But I don't think that has anything to do with your
My
dad.
dad.
Your
Yeah.
dad. So yeah,
I think he's very much like would do anything for his kids, would like hunt down and kill someone if he needed to and hide the body.
he is totally, he would kill for his children.
Oh.
There is no doubt whatsoever in my, I definitely know he's very protective. And one other story that I'm just going to tell, it's not exactly 100% about fathering, but I can remember one time he was so like this is actually kind of a man thing, not like an ex thing, but he was like so unrealistic when he would like do things or plan things. And one time he was taking a plane and the connecting flight left before his plane got in. It was like 10 minutes. I mean, it wasn't very much. It was like it's like 10 minutes. And so I brought it to situation. I go, this isn't going to work. Your connecting flight is leaving before your plane gets in. That doesn't work. And he said to me, "You're so negative. You're always so negative." Okay.
Just spitting facts over here.
Okay. So yeah, I'm so negative about that kind of stuff. But he there's a whole list of things that we could probably make about anybody's decisions and things that they do in their life. But as a father, as a whole, I don't know. What would I say? What rating would you give your dad? I mean, really.
Like a 0 to 10.
Like, okay.
10 is best or what?
Yeah, like say, okay, let's don't even do 10. Let's do like
grade level.
Like 1 to 5. Okay, 1 to 5. 5 being the best dad ever in the world that was there for you emotionally in every which way you could ever need, want, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Was the person that you could look up to. I don't know, whatever your idea of the greatest dad is. Like, think about like Father of the Bride.
Mm-hmm.
Think about Steve Martin. Okay, think about that.
Dad, yes, very.
Yeah. Okay, so think about that. That's number 5, and then think about like number 1 is like he wouldn't be number 1 because number 1 would be somebody not in your life,
right,
at all.
Right.
So we know he's not that. So, what would you say? Like, what would you rate him?
I would say.
And be honest, because here's the thing. I'm going to ask you to rate me too, and I don't want you to give me a 5, even though I know I deserve a 5. No, I'm just kidding. But I mean, I'm just saying, be honest about, don't, I know that you're a pleaser.
Mm-hmm.
You're so much a pleaser, and I got to work that out of you, girl. I do. I'm going to have to take you to Kathy.
Both the same.
I know, but it's not about love. It's not about love. It's about speaking truth. And, if he gave you everything that you would ever wanted in a dad, or was there things that you didn't get?
Yeah. I would probably say like 3.75. 3.5, 3.75. But it's hard too because a lot, I think, could have been better with if I put more effort. Which, as like a kid or a teenager, that's not really my fault or my job. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, 3.75, there's nothing wrong with being a 3.75, especially when it's your first kid and you're, there's some things that were sort of beyond his control. I don't think I would have given him a 3.75.
I think that
from me and from my point of view, from what I lived with,
right,
as raising his child.
Yeah. Well, and it's hard too because like as a kid in that situation, you don't see that stuff.
Right.
And like, were there times that the grade would have been lower? Yeah, probably. Could he have put more effort in? Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But I do feel like I never would have been, or would be now, like scared to go to him with something, like if I really needed to, or never been like, he's gonna kill me.
Well, because he had no control over you. That's
Yeah.
why. He had no leverage over you. He couldn't take away your cell phone. He couldn't take away
Yeah.
anything, your car or anything. Number one, because he didn't contribute to your car or contribute to your cell phone bill.
Yeah.
So he had no leverage over you. And you were not the kind of kid that would ever use that because you were a good kid. You would never say, you could have. You could have just been like, well, F you, M or F-er. I don't have to do what you say.
Yeah.
And you did not do that because you know what? I raised you better than that too. And I would never be okay with that. And so you did not, you didn't really even give him anybody any reason to. I mean, yeah, I hardly had to even parent you, okay? If the truth be known. And that's not, I mean, I did have to parent you, but I mean, the parenting was, you know, linear and it was very, you know, we would have a little issue and we would work through it and we'd go move on down the road and just like normal life. It was never anything that was ever felt like insurmountable but there were times that were hard being someone solely emotionally responsible for someone, your child,
Mm-hmm.
is scary. And I think it's the emotional toll. It's not the day to day. It's not the get up every day, get the kid ready, get him to school, go to work, come home, get their shit together, clean up the house, do everything you need to do, you know, watch your kid do twirls for an hour and then to give him a bath, go to bed and then die. It's not that part, which that part is hard. However, that part's doable. And I think you get into a rhythm where that part you just kind of do and you with a stride. The part that's hard is the worrying part.
Yeah.
The part where you can never turn off your brain.
Yeah.
And not having a partner there, like a dad or a partner, the daddy, who's equally invested in this person as you are, to share that worry with when it's all on you, sometimes can become insurmountable.
Yeah.
And so it's something that I've almost had to learn to just let go of, just because you can't control everything and you just got to let it go.
Yeah.
But so once you got to be older, as now you're an adult, what do you feel like where do you see your relationship with your dad as far as, you know, like, do you feel pretty good about your relationship with him? And would you like to, like, have a better relationship? I mean, everybody would like a better relationship. Yeah. So that's kind of a stupid question. But, I mean, and honestly, I guess you probably don't have a whole lot of time to cultivate a lot of relationships.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think we have a good relationship. It's hard now because he lives in Germany. So just like physical distance really hinders like the amount of time you get to spend with somebody.
Right.
And then even when he's not in Germany, you know, he's in San Antonio, which, you know, it's close, but not, you know, down the street. And so I do wish that there was more opportunities to, you know, spend time together, but I think that when we do, it's good.
Yeah. That's good. That's kind of all. And you really should try to have as much relationship with you have, because I mean, we're not getting any younger over here. So, and by the way, he's been having those heart issues. I'm sorry, I'm not laughing about the heart issues. I'm laughing about the when I went up to him at the funeral and I said, I heard you had some problems with your heart, like you didn't have one.
So the
Just
girl with
kidding.
the heart monitor on. Correct.
I know. Speaking of heart monitors, yeah, Shep saw this and he goes, diabetes. And I'm like, not yet, son. Not yet.
He loves diabetes as an insult. He says that all the time to Cannon. If he's like eating ice cream. Cannon ate all the ice cream. He's going to get diabetes.
Oh my God. Diabetes.
Diabetes.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
So do you feel like you talked about your daddy issues enough, or do you have any daddy issues? Do you think it affected the way you picked your husband, or
I don't think so.
do you feel like Dave and your dad have similarities, or not really?
Hard to say. I mean, I'm sure there's some. If I were to really I think they both really love their kids a hell of a lot,
Yeah.
as all dads should, but some don't. But
Yeah. Sweet.
I remember growing up. So my dad's an attractive guy. He's getting old though, so don't let this make your head too big, Dad. But growing up, everybody would be like, "Oh my God, your dad looks like Mel Gibson. He's so hot."
All those like middle schoolers and
Yeah.
and like, because that's when girls I think start really noticing cute boys and
Mhm.
stuff. So I don't know. And what would you say?
I'd be like, "Ew, okay, no."
I know. I had that problem with him too. Lots of girls always noticing him. That was an issue for me. So yeah. But that's another episode.
I don't like that. Okay, so now that we have talked about my dad, aka Chief, let's talk about
No, okay.
no. Let's talk about dads, baby.
Let's talk about dads. So my dad is a little bit more complicated. I have a stepdad that I was raised with, Ken, who was very important in my life. I think had my mom, Nanny, had not married Ken, my life would have been completely different.
Yeah.
It would have been just kind of like if I had stayed with your dad, our life would have been completely different. Just a different trajectory. And I think definitely with Ken, we had a much richer life and were able to, I experienced so much interesting things and I learned so much growing up about different places and it was hard at times living all over, but it was also had its good side too.
Mm-hmm.
We did a lot of traveling, saw a lot of things, and it made me really appreciate different places and traveling. And I loved, me, I love to travel. I love to go anywhere. Yeah. I am stuck on G, waiting on O over here for anybody that wants to go on any trips. My suitcase is already packed. So, but
did Ken adopt you officially?
Yeah, he did. He did. So they met when I was like 4 years old. And when I was 12, they came to me and asked if I wanted to be adopted. And I was like, yeah, that would be great. And so, because I really never knew my dad. I didn't know my bio dad because I think he met me one time when I was a baby. He came over to my grandmother's house and he saw me when I was a baby. And then after that, I did not know anything about my bio dad except his name. I knew his name was Jerry Crow because, I mean, my mom had just mentioned Jerry Crow. And that name was also on my birth certificate. So I knew that Jerry Crow is my dad. But Ken was actually, he was the dad figure.
Right.
And, you know, I could do a whole podcast about Ken, which I am planning on doing that at some point. But just suffice to say that he was a good provider and a good father, but he wasn't super
Warm
and loving, and
he was always a little scary.
yeah. He had a kind of a scary, he had like a resting scary
Yeah,
face. And
scary eyebrows.
yeah, he looked a little bit like Herman Munster. And so he wasn't like sweet and kind. He was like, "Hey, what are you doing over there? Hey, y'all be quiet in there." You know, that kind of stuff.
Hello,
and so,
kid.
well, think about it. When he met my mom, he didn't have any kids,
Yeah.
and he was like in his mid-30s, and all of a sudden he meets this woman and she has a 2 and a 4-year-old. Could you imagine? To be like, what?
Yeah.
But he met her and he was like, oh yeah, I'm hot for her. So he married her, of course. And
Mhm.
I mean, as far as anything I ever knew, cared about, whatever, he was my dad. He was what, good, bad, or indifferent. You get what you get. You don't throw a fit. Okay. Your dad is your dad. I give him respect. He did a lot of things right. He did a couple of things not right. And that's the end of it. And, but so when I was like 29, you might not even remember. I don't even know if you remember this, but we lived right by the airport in San Antonio. We lived right off of Wetmore and Thousand Oaks in San Antonio. And I was an area manager. I had several properties that I managed. We had like on-site managers, but I would just go around and kind of check on things and make sure things were okay. So we had one property that was it was kind of bougie, you know, it was nice and smaller, eclectic kind of. And so I would go there like once a week just to check off like payroll stuff and just kind of just check in, see if is anybody been shot? Has there been anything going on, you know, in the property? Because, you know, this is property management. It's crazy. So one day I'm over there and it's a teeny tiny little office, and it had like a back office, and I was in the back office, which was basically the manager's office. And I was back there just kind of doing some paperwork and signing some stuff. And this man was talking to the leasing agent out in the front of our office, and he was asking to see apartments for some guys that he had doing jobs in San Antonio. They worked for a roofing company. And so I'm listening, like the Virgo that I am. I'm always listening. I'm always listening. And I am listening to the story, and I hear her as she's starting to fill out the guest card that his name is Jerry Crow.
Oh, geez.
And
You're like, that's weird.
Yeah. So I was like, nah, you know. I mean, only slightly one antenna went up a little bit, you know, like,
Because it could be a common.
So I couldn't really see this guy. So I go out there to the front, and I start like acting like I'm like looking for something. The girl sitting there was, I believe it was Cheryl Bookout. Cheryl Bookout, if you hear this, girl, this is a shout out for you. I'm pretty sure it was Cheryl, but it's not Cheryl anymore. I don't know what it is, but Cheryl Bookout.
You're all
sweet, beautiful girl.
Trying to be
anyway,
discreet.
yeah, I'm trying to be discreet, and I'm kind of like looking around, because I guess I wanted to see. First of all, I need to see if he's the right age. I mean, if he's 25, obviously, that would not work. And so I'm looking around. I'm like, yeah. I mean, it's not like I looked at this guy and thought, I'm looking in the mirror.
Yeah.
But I'm looking around, so I start kind of like just sort of like asking him a couple of questions or whatever. And they got up and they went and they looked at the apartment. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I wonder, should I find out? Well, you know me, Cass. I'm not going to let that go. I ain't gonna leave that alone. I'm not a leave it alone kind of gal. Everyone who knows me knows this. And so they came back in and there I am still lurking around and I'm looking around, trying to act like, I'm trying to just ask him questions. And I said, so where are you from? And he said, well, I'm from Houston. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm just trying to make small talk with the dude, okay? And I'm sure he's thinking, what does this girl want with me? And he probably thought I was like scamming on him or something.
I was going to say hitting on him.
Yeah. And I said,
didn't you say like, have you ever been to?
No. I said, you're from Houston. Oh, okay. He goes, why? Do you know me?
Maybe.
And I said, well, I don't know. Have you ever been to Temple? Which is where I was born, in Temple, Texas. And he's like, sort of like looking at me.
The dot.
Like sort of. And then he asked me how old I was. He's like, how old are you? And I said, I'm 29. I'm about to be 30. And he said, okay, do you mind if we step into your office? And I said, sure. And he went into my office and he sat down and I went in and closed the door and he said, I think you might be my daughter.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I think I might be too, maybe. And the weird thing is he started almost like making excuses for why he hasn't been in my life. Like he felt like a need to start saying, well, I've been
busy. I've been busy with work the last 9 years.
Yeah, so it was a really, really weird. I mean, you cannot even imagine how weird it was and how weird it felt. I mean, my heart was beating a million miles an hour. I couldn't even believe what was going on. I felt like I was in another planet. I mean, I'm a young 29. I'm a grown up, but still 29 years old, and I'm single. I got you, me and you, just me and you. There was no Jake or no Egon, nothing by then. And he said, well, hey, can I take you out tonight? Like go to dinner and whatever. And I said, sure. Do you mind if I invite my mom to come? So I get on the phone and I call Nanny and I go, oh my God, you are not going to believe who just walked into my office. You are not going to believe it. And the weird thing is, it never even occurred to me that she could have contacted him and told him where I was, or maybe he contacted her and found out where I was, and it never even entered my mind, because I feel like Nanny would have told me that on the front end. She would have said, he called me, and the fact that he just walked in off the street, it never occurred to me that it was any kind of setup. It was totally natural. It was totally happenstance.
It's just so wild.
I mean, it just doesn't happen. How was I there on that day, which I'm not even there? Yeah, not even like a whole day. I'm already there a few hours in one day. I happened to be there. I happened to be listening. He didn't live in San Antonio. Look at the size of San Antonio.
Yeah.
I mean, it was beyond the freakiest thing that has ever happened to me, of course. And so we went to dinner. Nanny came down.
When you called Nanny and said, you'll never guess who walked into my office,
she had no idea.
What'd she say?
She had no idea. She had no idea. And I said, Jerry Crow, your baby daddy. your baby daddy. And she's like, what? Da, da, da. Now, Ken, on the other hand, he thought it was some kind of setup. He thought that my mom might have contacted him. But Nanny's like you. Me, I would have contacted him and had him, I would have set that up.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind. Nanny would not do that. She doesn't, especially after all those years. If she wanted me to have a relationship with him, and believe me, he was not on my mind. I had never been thinking, oh, I wonder what my dad looks like. That never even played into my life whatsoever.
Yeah, like, why would she do that now?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And you want to know something really shitty? I'm going to say something shitty.
Hell yeah, I do.
Okay. Believe me, I am not going to toot my own horn because you know me, I've always been a bit insecure about the way I look or whatever, but I know that I'm an attractive woman, okay? And I feel like he was attracted to me in the sense that he came in and saw that, hey, this is my daughter and she's a pretty woman and she's this and that. And he wanted it's almost like he wanted to claim it. Yeah, I felt that way.
Like if you were not as attractive.
Yeah, I feel like if I was like the maid, and I'm not going to say the maid because that's terrible. That's a terrible one to use.
Like a homeless person on the street.
Yeah, if I felt like if I was anybody else, if I was just like a regular old, just whatever, or maybe if I was like maybe like 300 pounds or something, or I don't know. I don't think he would have been any at all excited about having a relationship with me, but he was very much wanted a relationship with me. And so he met you and he was just all grandpa of the year and... Yeah.
So y'all went to dinner.
Yeah, we went to dinner and guess what?
What else?
Oh yeah. After that we went to Denim and Diamonds. D&D. That's what we called it in the old days, D&D. We went to D&D, went dancing. Here I am dancing with this man that I have never met before. But I have half of his DNA in my body. It is so surreal.
That is so freaky. I can't even imagine.
Yeah. And he's hot for Nanny. He's hot for my mom. He's like totally checking her out. Because, I mean, she was hot. And so he was like totally like, oh, yeah, she hadn't changed a bit. He was all drooling all over her. And I was like, dude, you still a dog. You was a dog back then. You took advantage of a 17-year-old girl.
Yeah, because how old was he?
He was probably about 30.
Wow.
And he had a wife and he had children. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I have a brother that is very close in age to me. So he had knocked up not only his own wife, but my sweet little mother.
Who was a child.
Who was but yet a child herself. And who just, and my mom, Nanny, she told me, she goes, the minute I found out I was pregnant with you, there was absolutely no doubt in my mind that I wanted you. You were wanted and loved from the minute you came into my life. And it didn't matter. He came by to see you one time and I was at work, but my mom, what did I call my grandma? Ma.
You're asking me.
I know, I can remember. It's been so long ago.
Ma.
Okay, so Ma was there with me watching me, and he came by to see me, and that was it. And did he ever pay? Did he ever think, hey, let me send this poor girl some money for some diapers?
Yeah.
Or let me send some money for food or anything? No.
Do you wonder if Ma was like, don't show your face around here?
I hope she did.
She probably did.
I hope she had a gun and she told him, get your ass out of here and don't ever come back. Yeah. I don't know, but he didn't. And that was pretty much the end of that. And I don't think it has affected me in one iota, not one iota. I have met siblings that I have, and I look at their life and I think, oh, thank goodness he took off down the road because he was not a good dad.
Yeah.
or a good husband.
Well, I could have told you that just based on
Yeah.
how you got here.
Yeah.
Like,
No kidding.
ew.
I know. No kidding. He's just, and when I met him later, and I'm not trying not to be overly judgmental, even though I am being judgmental. I met him later on in life, and he was still like a player. It was like he was like a 60-year-old player,
Yeah.
just still trying to scam out. And he was with a woman, baby cakes, and then she must have got wind of the real him, and she dumped him.
Yeah.
And I do not know what happened to him. People say, well, where is he now? I don't. I'm a little bit.
Curious.
I'm not going to be say I'm ashamed, because I'm really not ashamed. But I maybe should have tried to keep in contact with him, but I didn't really feel a need to.
Yeah. Yeah. He did always seem very much like used car sales.
Yeah. He wanted to look good. He was, narcissist.
Yeah.
He's a narcissist. I mean, and I could tell by the things that my mom told me about how, like, he just sped into town, and he had an expensive car. He was a salesman. He had an expensive car. He looked good, smelled good, probably had half the town knocked up. Who knows? I mean, we're going to talk about 23andMe. Because that's a whole nother topic for me.
Watch out, 23andMe.
But wait a minute, you never did yours. So you don't even know. Your whole crazy DNA side down that road could be a whole podcast. But my 23andMe side, I've been contacted by a few people, so I want to talk about that too at some point. But so that's kind of my baby daddy story. And I mean, not my baby daddy, but my mama's baby daddy story. And I don't know, it doesn't matter how you got here, you're here. And I never felt not loved or not wanted, and I think that's the most important thing.
Absolutely.
Yep.
That is just the most wild story. Like, that could be a movie.
I actually thought about, like, writing it and sending it to, like, one of those, I don't know, Montel back then. Yeah. Montel Williams or Sally Jesse Raphael or something. But
Lori.
I don't know. I just kind of was so busy living life. It's like, I ain't got time for all that.
I ain't got time for that.
Ain't got time for that nonsense.
Well, that, folks, is the story of how my mom met her bio dad. Not in a dream sequence, but in actual real life.
Honestly, it was giving season finale cliffhanger energy minus the commercial breaks.
Thank you so much for listening, MFer. Please like, follow, and share us with all of your friends. We greatly appreciate all of your love and support.
We'll be back next week with more stories, less DNA, and hopefully 0 surprise parents.
This has been Mom's Favorite, where we prove that real life writes better scripts than Hollywood ever could.